Adija nisubiri Adija nisubiri niwe wako nikupe mahaba yangu yote tuwe milele mimi na wewe Adija nisubiri niwe wako nikupe mahaba yangu yote tuwe milele mimi na wewe
wapi Adija nimetoka kutafuta na sikieni mrembo pia ningependa kukujua nipe mkono tafadhali tupoje mtaa twende nje twende njia mbali sana mali kawa ya Seychelles hivi tumetulia kwa beach tunachoma na jua hivi simu ziko off kuna mtu anatusumbua hoteli 12 star parakuruka fana shopping mtu wangu hizo viatu sawa hizo nguo pia hapo sawa dina saa 2 usiku maisha tamu baadaye masaa 7 tunaingia club kwa makali yote unataka VIP Adija nacheza ngumi yote unataka Adija tafadhali ishi na mimi lele we wangu na wako tuishi kigenge
Adija nisubiri niwe wako nikupe mahaba yangu yote tuwe milele mimi na wewe Adija nisubiri niwe wako nikupe mahaba yangu yote tuwe milele mimi na wewe nataka kupa usichowahi ahidiwa nawe utahisi umebarikiwa toka zamani nimekutamani mrembo kama wewe hafai kuwa bila mchumba nipe nafasi nimekutamani Adija nisubiri niwe wako nikupe mahaba yangu yote tuwe milele mimi na wewe Adija nisubiri niwe wako nikupe mahaba yangu yote tuwe milele mimi na wewe she don't really like me but let me try see how what she really like before we make a step on her and show how me really feel listen up let me show you truly what the deal me want the culture future in life me want the soldier out of the land of misery want the porcher see me treasure you cause you are me fortune me without you it could have been me torture Adija nisubiri niwe wako nikupe mahaba yangu yote tuwe milele mimi na wewe Adija nisubiri niwe wako nikupe mahaba yangu yote tuwe milele mimi na wewe utulivu wangu wakuisha tu heri nisiachilie tumaini langu mie utulivu wangu wakuisha tu heri nisiachilie tumaini langu mie Adija nisubiri niwe wako nikupe mahaba yangu yote tuwe milele.
Yes, good afternoon. Hope you guys are doing amazing. Grand Rising on Karibuni Saa to yet another beautiful conversation right here in the middle of the 21st century. It's 3 minutes past 1 p.m. and I hope you had a fantastic night. Wishing you a beautiful day ahead as you start with your day today. And welcome as we talk about more conversations and, of course, new conversations of what is happening in Africa and its people. We're going to be looking at so many information of usually majority of them today are quite positive. We're going to be talking about Burkina Faso as our conversation or first conversation for today. As you can see how they have been able to locally unveil the woven military. This is actually made from their own textile, and this is actually super amazing where they're promoting their own textile industry. So we're going to be discussing about that. Talk about also Chad, which has announced plans to withdraw from the International Criminal Court. We're going to be discussing about Zimbabwe opening the first lithium processing plant, becoming Africa's top producer, and much more of the conversation also coming from DRC, Congo, and Israel. As you can see, they're trying to strengthen their ties. We're going to be discussing more about that. Still much more of hate literally coming from other Africans, I'd say because of South Africans' behavior. And this is actually regarding most of their companies that are running in several countries like Uganda, that is the MTN. And we have South Africans literally still sparking the xenophobic behavior and all that, so which we're going to be discussing about. As you can see, that guy who is talking on the screen, we're going to be listening to what he had to say. And on the other hand, we have the president who is calling for African nations to work together on migration and much more of the conversation, we're going to be discussing also about looking into history and also the leadership of Africa. I'm going to be sharing a video which talks about coups and other videos about also the African Union and the African nation, the African Union and the African nations, how they don't work for Africans. But there's one that actually talks about how we've had so many several coups and how we were not able to change anything, and which you've seen someone like Ibrahim Traore being able to change something, and why is it that it has been impossible for us to take complete power? Where do we really go wrong? And I'll take you back to a history of Kenya when we had once, that was in 1982, where we had the first coup attempt. That was during the late Arap Moi, the second president of Kenya, who ruled for 24 years. And the guy only managed to just take power for 6 hours before Moi took back power again. So we're going to be discussing about that as our conversations for today. But remember, we have amazing supplements that you can grab under our application. In case you're here for the first time, kindly subscribe and join us on our app, which you can find on the Google Play Store. Very nice and easy. Blackout Fire Network is the name of this amazing platform. So in case you're using an Android phone, you can find us on the Google Play Store. In case you're using an iPhone, rather your laptop, you can stream using our website link, www.blackoutfirenetwork.com. But with that being said, check yourself, or rather go and check for yourself the supplements that you'll be looking for, or that they can help you boost your health. But for me, I'll share these.
Unlock your full potential with Brain and Focus, a powerful supplement designed to boost mental clarity, enhance memory, and sharpen concentration. Made from a blend of scientifically proven ingredients like ginkgo biloba, omega-3, and essential vitamins, Brain and Focus is crafted to fuel your mind. Our process ensures maximum potency and effectiveness, delivering the perfect balance of brain-boosting nutrients. Take just one capsule daily, as prescribed by your healthcare provider, and feel the difference. Whether it's powering through your workday or staying sharp in life's challenges, Brain and Focus keeps you at the top of your game. Stay sharp, stay focused, and stay ahead with Brain and Focus. Brain and Focus, fuel your mind, achieve more. Go get this product at blackhotfirenetwork.com at the Sports and Nutrition Store.
And as we start with today's conversation, we're going to start with what is happening in Burkina Faso. As you can see, they have unveiled their locally woven military uniform to promote the country's cultural heritage and boost domestic textile. This is super amazing to see this, because for the longest time, African people or African countries and African militaries are using uniforms that have been sponsored or that were left to be working by the colonial systems. So we've seen recently a country like Uganda, where we had some judges who are urging that they should change how they use the names on the court. They address the names they used to address some people on the court, whether it's the judge, whether it's the executive or the judiciary, and which later we saw some people, they were triggered and they came back and said that no, that is so backward. There's no way we can go back to using traditional names and all that. So today, looking at literally Burkina Faso again, is one of the leading countries by example on what Africa should have done from the word go if we really had true independence. Because why do we still have colonial uniforms or colonial laws still telling us how to live as Africans? If this is an African continent, it should be lived the African way. If this is a continent for Africans, then Africans should live based on their cultures and traditions, and this comes also from the clothes. And it's so sad to see that we've lost all this because this was there before. Africans literally relied on their own textile back then. I don't know how we used to make clothes, but I do believe we had a possibility and ways of making this happen. So like we were walking naked, we had our traditional ways of preserving, or rather, covering ourselves. So it is really amazing to see actually Burkina Faso trying to educate this and bring it back and to show Africans what should have been there from the word go. So of course, this happened yesterday. So they're saying Burkina Faso unveiled new military uniforms made from locally woven fabric during the graduation ceremony on the 25th class of active duty officer cadets at the George Namono Military Academy, and the ceremony attended by the country's leader, Captain Ibrahim Traore. So 218 officers, cadets graduate while wearing the new uniform inspired by the traditional Sensegu fabric from the Gulmu region in eastern Burkina Faso. Authorities say that the uniform has been designed to celebrate the craftsmanship of local weavers while promoting the country's cultural heritage. The move also reflects efforts to incorporate locally produced materials into official state institutions. The graduation marks the first time of academic cadets donned the locally inspired uniforms and highlighting Burkina Faso's push to support domestic industries and showcase national identity through military attire. So this is actually super, super amazing. And just going and checking on the comments, this is actually on a Kenyan platform to see what Kenyans have to say about this. So someone says, bro is slowly transforming Burkina Faso. Of course he is. And this way you can see, people actually can see that for real Burkina Faso is making a change. It's not something that can be hidden. No matter how many times you see the mainstream media trying to put some negative information about or report negative things that are not even happening in the country, they do not report the positive ones, but be quick to report the negative ones. So people can actually see for themselves. Someone also says a citizenship here, place condition ni gani ni secure my passport in a soon to be the first world country. So generally what the lady is asking is how can she be able to get citizenship in Burkina Faso, because this is one of the growing countries in Africa and very, very fast. And of course, me too, I said it actually back then. I said, if actually I'm to get also a citizenship, why not? You know, this is a country where you sure, even if you go become a citizen there, and so long as Ibrahim Traore stays a leader, before they get rid of him and install another puppet, which we pray and hope not. This is a place where people would love to go and start life, because the institutions that are being installed right now, they are working. People are feeling they are being heard, they are being heard, they are being listened, their needs are being provided, they're being told the truth. They're also being told the truth about, stop wasting your time with religion, stop wasting your time with this and this and this. Let's work, let's find out we can make these 1, 2, 3 things work and create also job employment or other opportunities. So this is actually super, super amazing. And shout out to Ibrahim Traore. And someone also says making our own rules. Exactly. As it should have been from the word go. We should have started making these rules like literally a very long time ago. So those are the top conversations literally of today. That's actually something positive for once. And I do hope that maybe looking at 10 years, 20 to come, the rest of the Africa would be a copy and paste of where we see nothing but beautiful transformation. But yes, talking about transformations, we have Chad as part of our conversation also for today, which has announced plans to withdraw from International Criminal Court. And this is after we saw recently the Alliance Sahel state as a whole, they actually withdrew from the International Criminal Court and gave their own reasons, which are actually very, very reasonable. But we saw later again, that was America, the European Union, and including ECOWAS as well. They came and said that they were actually ECOWAS was being urged on how they can talk to the Alliance Sahel state to stop with the move of, withdrawing from the International Criminal Court. But shout out to Chad. So far, we've seen also them withdrawing the visas, allowing many African countries or African people to go visit their country visa-free, which is amazing. So maybe Chad is one of the countries without the white man pressures again, which I keep on saying when it comes to majority of these puppets. If the white man was off their shoulders, I do believe these people can actually make things, they can make things move. But because, like what we understanding yesterday on the video we shared, because of this Godfather syndrome, always wanting to be appointed, or someone giving you a handout so that you can stay in power, or you're not even chosen by the people. This is the reason why. And the white man is the one who dictates what you should and shouldn't do. And if you're not loyal, we saw what are the consequences. Is the reason why Africa is actually where it is today. So shout out to Chad, but let's take a look on how they're looking forward to make this move forward.
Another blow to the International Criminal Court as Chad says it will join Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and Venezuela in starting the process of quitting the tribunal. In a statement on Monday, the government said the ICC's effectiveness is limited and uneven. It accused the Hague-based institution of focusing on African countries. The announcement comes amid allegations of Chad's suspected involvement in the war in neighboring Sudan between the army and paramilitaries. Last week, the Chadian foreign minister's Facebook page said the US had pressured N'Djamena to reconsider its ICC membership, but the minister later denied the US was behind the withdrawal. Rather, Chad no longer felt in step with the court as it currently operates, he said on Monday. The ICC prosecutes individuals for war crimes and crimes against humanity. Earlier this month, the US said it was launching a campaign against the court, saying it posed an intolerable threat to US sovereignty.
Yeah, and of course, recently we also saw that there were pressures under pressure from the Washington states, which of course from the Washington, where we can see, of course, states were withdrawing. That was last week. They said it has been barely 2 weeks since the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced Washington's intention to dismantle the International Criminal Court brick by brick. And now 2 states have announced their withdrawal from the court. Both Venezuela and Chad have claimed that their decisions were a result of the ICC alleged biases. Of course, they are biased. And in reality, American pressure drove each to please the Trump administration, with both Caracas and N'Djamena being pushed in recent days to leave the court. Not surprisingly, their decisions were celebrated in the Trump administration, which is encouraging all members of the ICC to withdraw from the Romeo state. So that is what is happening. And I do believe it's time for structure. I don't know. This should be a global effect because, and especially for Africa, what I've been saying about Africa is when one country makes a decision, it should be the whole continent should also take the same decision with immediate effect. It shouldn't be a one-sided conversation, because we have to sit down as a continent and understand how these organizations have rather been serving us or not serving us. And since many countries can see that these organizations don't work in our favor, there's always this biasness, then why can't we do this as a continent? It is so sad to see that Africa will not even understand simple things that can keep us united or keep us in a certain form of power. We could actually, you can start little by little, and it's by decision making where you include each other. That is a form of power you're forming without even understanding, just little by little. When I make a decision, it shouldn't be just me, it should be everyone inclusive. Let's have a debate. Let's have a discussion. Let's see who is in favor, who is not, and see how we can move the way forward from this. And then with the people who are in favor or want to work with this, we agree. Those who don't want to, cool. Because at the end of the day, we also have to understand, of course, each country is independently able, or just the term I want to use, is independently allowed to make its own decision. You don't have to follow what the rest, but it should be mandatory, according to me. If I am to set such rules, it should be mandatory. If this country brings up any debate or decision from withdrawing from any international organization, let's discuss about it as a continent, see who are in and who are out. And those who are out, tell us why you are out. Give us a valid reason. How does this actually work in your favor? Because so far, if we have, let's say, 38/20, something or 20, come on, like we need to do better as a continent. We really need to do better. But that's quite a very bold move over there. And we're looking forward to see what, of course, there's going to be response from the International Criminal Court itself, probably from ECOWAS, probably from the African Union, the EU, the AU. We're gonna see them talk, the UN as well. We might see them talking about, of course, this bold decision that countries are making from walking away from their International Criminal Court organization that has never been working. On the other hand, we have Zimbabwe, which has opened the first lithium processing plant, becoming Africa's first top producer. So yes, news and reports have it that Zimbabwe's first plant to process clean energy metal lithium, of which it is Africa's top producer, it is up and running, a milestone in its expanding drive to stop the wholesale export of its raw mineral wealth. But before we get to continue, we have to go back to Google and understand things that I've understood well over the years of, if you want to understand if the country is going to benefit from whatever they are doing or not. So let's take a look at who is funding the Zimbabwe lithium processing company. Let's see. So according to Google, the Zimbabwe lithium processing sector is not run by a single entity, of course, like I expected, but is heavily funded by major Chinese mining corporations alongside state-owned vehicles like the Mutapa Investment Fund. Just again, let's look at who are the Mutapa Investment Fund. Mutapa Investment Fund, MIF. Why is it called MIF? It's giving IMF. It's just like it's MIF. 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 That's funny. It's MIF. Okay, so MIF is Zimbabwe's sovereign wealth fund, driven strategic investment for national growth and economic prosperity. Who funds it? Let's see. The sovereign wealth. Excuse me. Okay, it functions as a state-owned holding company that manages major public assets, state-owned enterprises, and strategic investments to drive national growth. So maybe probably owned by Zimbabwe, but definitely, of course, there's some private investors. But back to this, yes, the Zimbabwe lithium processing sector is not run by a single entity, but is heavily funded by major Chinese mining corporations. So, of course, the first red flag, we know the Chinese, where they are, it's exploitation. There's never benefit to those countries. And alongside state-owned vehicles like the Mutapa Investment. Keith, please stay on the comment section. Why do you have to?
I'm just going to help you out real quick. Don't go crazy. Don't go crazy. I'm going to leave. Good grief. Stop your xenophobia joke. Don't go crazy. Okay, Mutapa. You say Mutapa sounds. Mutapa is the old kingdom in Zimbabwe, so they're naming it after their old African empire. Okay. They say Mutapa Investment Fund. So Mutapa was an old empire in Zimbabwe, in that area, in the Zimbabwe Malawian area. Okay. Okay. So that's what I'm trying to. Okay, so you go all crazy. You're early as hell, ain't you? Anyway, you're early as hell, ain't you?
I've been early since the rest of my life. I've been always early, Just don't keep up. I've been coming very early.
All right, so let me go before you get all crazy. People coming to help you. You versus South Africans. People come to help.
You can help me on the comment section. I'll still read the comments. That's what you can do.
I
You do
can't
your
drive. I can't
you
drive it.
no, you do your goddamn shows and leave my shows alone.
I can't drive and type at the same time. Okay, I'm good. If I come to help you, you go crazy. I'm God.
Thank you. Yeah, he needs to do his own show. Keith will come in. Yesterday, he was almost taking my whole show. No, I don't want that. I want to do my own analysis. But yes, thank you for helping. So yes, and looking at it further, they're saying that the key prominent projects and their specific corporate backers included. So we have the Prospect Lithium Zimbabwe, which is funded and owned by Zhejiang Haoyong, that is a Chinese, of course. That is a Chinese company. Cobalt, which has invested over $1 billion into developing local processing and constructing Africa's first lithium sulfate plant. And then we have Bikita Minerals, so these are all these are all mining companies that actually have put funds together, and definitely it's the same people to put up this processing company. We have Bikita Minerals funded and acquired by Sonomi Resource Group, which poured hundreds of millions into upgrading, processing, and constructing local I can't pronounce that, and sulfate facilities. And then we have the Sandewana lithium mine, backed by $300 million investment secured by the state-owned Mutapa Energy, in partnership with major corporate and Chinese investors. And then last but not least, we have the Sabi Star and Zulu projects, funded respectively by the Chengxing Lithium Group and Canmax Technologies in partnership with Premier African Minerals. So the question always go back that I've understood when it comes to all these deals. How is Zimbabwe going to benefit? Is this going to benefit, of course, these people who are funding this? The money is not going to be used in development sectors. It's not going to be used in anything to develop the livelihood of the Zimbabwean people. Is it going to improve road sector? Is it going to boost the economy? Is it going back to actually fund more infrastructures and development in the country? Or is it going to benefit the same people who have poured all this money? All these companies you can see are owned by Chinese, and the puppets who are there who have agreed to this deal because the country is rich in lithium. Those are the things we need to understand. But let's look at this.
Zimbabwe's first plant to process clean energy metal lithium is up and running, a milestone in its expanding drive to stop the wholesale export of its raw mineral wealth. In February, Zimbabwe froze exports of raw minerals ahead of a full ban in 2027, announcing it will require in-country value addition and beneficiation. The ban sent mining firms scrambling to build plants to process lithium sulfate, a step along the value chain towards battery-grade materials. The first and only one so far was set up at Goromonzi, around 30 kilometers east of Harare, a $400 million facility built by Chinese-owned Prospect Lithium Zimbabwe that became fully operational in May.
Yeah, so that is what is happening in Zimbabwe. So definitely this is going to benefit the president of Zimbabwe, who we saw recently extending the presidential terms. So we can see why, so that they can keep up with the exploitation, Exactly. We go back to the yesterday's video, loyalty. If you're loyal to your master, your slave master, then you're cool. You can stay in these offices for as long as you want, but understand you don't have power. You've given all the power, because literally this is giving all the power you have to people who are here to exploit you, not to benefit you in any sort of way. For some pieces of paper, for literally billions worth of resources that can help you and the people of the country. I don't understand how these puppets reason. It's super, super crazy. Like children, literally. How are you even fooled to take a long-term deal, and in this long-term deal there's no discussions of, because yeah, the discussions are always there. Oh, you know, this is going to help you economically, you're gonna develop in this is going to boost this and this, but it never happens. All the money is actually pocketed and they go away with it. This money is never poured back to the most important things. There's never building, restructuring, there's nothing. It's always this bullshit of cooperation which has never benefited us as a continent. How are you fooled to take long-term deals that won't help you? I don't understand. I don't understand how you sign such a contract. For some fake power. It's not even real power that you have. It's fake power. Because when you give up your resources, you've given the real power, what you really have. Ibrahim Traore is flexing on all of you because he has power. He's flexing on the white people because he has power. He's the decision maker of what happens to his resources in the country. And so far we can see how much has been actually, yesterday I was reading an article of where so far Burkina Faso has generated $6 billion from mining its own gold. In a span of just, was it 9 months or a few months? Yeah, because reports keep on, of course, coming in, how much they're generating. I think it was in a span of, I can't remember the whole, but yeah, I remember the amount, but I don't remember the span of time. And you can clearly see how they're using their resources, the money they're generating from these resources. You can clearly see there's so much development happening. We're talking about road. We're talking about free hospital, free schools. We're talking about employment. We're talking about electricity. We're talking about a country actually that is functioning. It is so sad that we want to keep on making these deals that never, never help us as a people. We're going to continue being seen weak as a continent just because of the fools the people who are presenting this continent, the people who are actually controlling these countries, managing, like I said yesterday, managing these countries. It's crazy. And it gets even worse. And that's why I keep on saying, Felix Tshisekedi is such a puppet. Felix Tshisekedi with that big balloon stomach, that Negro needs to actually be, he needs to be bubble-gummed. That is one that deserves a big bubble gum. And multiple, not just one. A couple to be undiscovered, according to me. A couple, destroy. Bubblegum that shit. If possible, blow the bubblegum. You know? Blow it. Because this is just, this is very, 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 this is such a disgrace that we have this kind of leaders. On this other end, we have Israel and DRC Congo, who have pledged stronger ties during the foreign minister Jerusalem's visit. Stronger ties. Why are we making ties with a country? We can see clearly what they're doing to the rest of the world that refuses to bow down to them. And this is where we question again democracy, independency, the leadership of Africa, the politics of Africa, which is very well explained. We don't rule anything. This is such a shame, such a disgrace that this is Africa. That actually I live in this continent, you know, and it's this messy. And it's not like I'm not proud. Don't get me wrong. I'm very proud to be in Africa, to be living here. But it is such a disgrace that we have this kind of people presenting us on our behalves. It is such a disgrace.
Israel and the Democratic Republic of Congo have reaffirmed their commitment to deepening bilateral relations following talks between the foreign ministers in Jerusalem.
Bilateral relations means keep on. We need that much exploitation of your resources. We don't want you Negroes fighting for your resources. We don't want you even understanding how to fight for your resources. We want to see DRC Congo people always running for their lives. We want to keep on accusing the M23 rebels for things we know. We are behind them, you know, and we're going to keep on funding all this to continue. Are you in? That is Felix Kedi. Are you gonna bow down to our loyalty, or should we accuse you of treason? You know, we can turn everything against you and say that actually you are the one who orchestrated all these killings, and you've been working with the M23 rebel. Are you willing to bow down, or do you want to act smart still? You know we control the media, right? You know we control all the sources of information and news, right? You will have nowhere to hide your face. And you know what? We'll make you such a disgrace in your own continent and country that people will hate you and mock you, that you'll have nowhere to walk unless we just arrest you. The only safe space you will be in is in jail. So, make a choice. Wow. And I bet, I swear, I bet blankly, this is how these people talk. This is how they talk. Like, I can be convinced any other wise how these puppets are talked to. That's how they're talked to. You take the deal because from the word go, you agree to be a president under your leadership. How many people have lost their lives? Oh, you want to say that's us? We control your info. We control the news. We control all the sources of information. Are you stupid? Are you dumb? So yeah, we're gonna renew these contracts. We don't care if they ended long time ago with your British. We don't care. Whoever colonized you, we don't care. We want these rules signed, the contracts renewed. Yes, and we want that continuation of exploitation. We don't care how many people die, how many children are raped, and how many women. That's none of our business. None of our goddamn business. Say yes, put a smile as we take these pictures, and let's continue working together. Yes? You want to keep your lavish lifestyle? You want to keep on having your heavy convoys of, cars as you walk around so you can be seen as the big man Bazoo? Yeah, so sign this. Let's not have a back and forth. And sadly, it's all of them, including even Trump with his big mouth. They're all puppets. They're all puppets. I bet so is Netanyahu. I bet Netanyahu does answer to someone. It's just that he I'd say is more kind of closer to those people. But I bet he's also one of them. He also answers to someone. That's why they have to continue. The people behind the people behind the curtains. I wish you could really, really see these people, how they just enjoy all these suckers. Because this is like a game to them. It's giving Squid Game, Actually, if you understand politics for me, you understand. If you understand the Squid Game, you understand politics. If you've watched Squid Game, for me, I look at politics as Squid Game. Especially was it season 2 or season 3? I think it was season 2. I don't know, the last season that came out, because it was now showing how these people in power who are giving out money, to see people being killed, how they toast and enjoy, they're just watching from a glass how the rest of the world is being destroyed, how they just make orders, kill that one. No, let's see how they're going to save themselves. Oh, they can't, kill that one. That's politics. Politics is a whole Squid Game. It's a whole Squid Game. We're chasing for something that we can all share, Yeah, literally. Yeah, because understand Squid Game, they always look there's someone who's so greedy, willing to kill everyone, and those are the African puppets for me. There is someone who's willing to kill everyone in that game for their survival, for that large amount of money promised. But since you've been lied to so much, you don't understand you can share all this amount. It's so much, like it's a lot. It's plenty enough for us to supply, and everyone can go home with equal, which can sustain you for a very long time. And maybe more will come as now we continue, right? No. No, we want you to fight for that. Those are the puppets for me. And now the rest of us, of course, again, with the tribalism, religion, and all that, with the division, killing each other, fighting each other, hating each other. We think we're different. It's crazy. That is Africa, generally. Africa, to be specific. I mean, the rest of the world, also there is, of course, histories of here and there and still going on. I mean, look at Iran, look at Gaza, what Israel has been doing with America. But Africa,
The agreements focus on diplomatic training and strengthening political dialogue between the two foreign ministries.
Some pieces of paper that you can just do this, and make the rules. Just some pieces of papers with, you just do this and you restructure the rules. But no.
Two nations share significant potential for cooperation.
What cooperation? What significant mutual what is mutual between us and Israel as Africans? Because we're not talking about Congo. Israel, understand, is marking a territory right now in every African country. They are in Kenya, they are in South Africa, now they're in DRC. Bet sure they are probably in Tanzania right now. These people are everywhere. So what mutual cooperation, or what is so mutual between us and these animals? Nothing. We don't have animal-like behaviors. We don't like to see blood as a matter. I don't like to see blood of someone who's dead, unless it's my periods, and pardon that, but yeah. I don't like to see someone who's murdered innocently for no reason. Unless they're a thief. We're not keeping thieves nowadays, especially in Kenya. You're getting burnt. You know how people are struggling so much, and you come here, you want to get things for free. You're getting burnt. Go join Israel. They have those type of behaviors of stealing. We're not going to allow that here. On a normal day, Africans, nobody wants to see their people dying, being scared by guns, loud everywhere. We don't have animal-like behaviors. No. We don't go around just hunting people just because we want to take something from them. We don't go doing that. There's nowhere in history, and show me where it is. There's nowhere in history I've read Africans went killing. They went killing actually white people. Let's be specific, white people, because they wanted. What can we benefit from you? What? Smelling like a dog? That's what I can inherit? Having all those hairs on the body, looking like. No. I'm cool. Being this white? No. I love being melanin. I wish I was darker. Shit. I wish I was darker. Shit. What do we have to bear? Mutual behavior. This is the problem when we don't. For real, this is now where I join. When you don't have men to protect and fight for your country or even your dignity. Actually, let's talk about dignity. Even on the country. When you lack people who cannot fight for their dignity, this is what you get on repeat. Shout out to Ibrahim Traore. He is protecting Burkina Faso, not just as a country, but the people's dignity. Dignity. Because unless you don't have dignity, you don't value your dignity as an African or as a person, anyone is going to run and walk all over you. For sure. Everyone is going to run and walk all over you. They will. When you don't know how to stand up for yourself, people will always run and walk all over you. And sadly, that has been the African continent. We've always been walked and run all over. Our people being killed, our children being raped, our women being raped, the men being killed. And now, it's even worse. It's even worse. The men being turned into gay. They have killed the society completely. Which men do you want to fight when they're acting like women? I even got more strength than a man right now. I'm going to knock the shit out of you. Don't play with me. And I'm always standing on it every goddamn day. Every day. You won't scare me because you're a man. Show me you can fight then. Show me you can. And I bet in the way there's not gonna be any man standing. There's always a man somewhere who's not gonna stand you watching you beating up a woman. But me as a woman, come the wrong way. Man, you got your nose, your jaw broken. Don't play with me. Don't. I got that African warrior spirit for real, for real. When it comes to fighting, don't play with me. I've not been into fights, especially for a very long time, but just don't play with me. I'm always with that. So sadly, today in Africa, we don't even have men who can stand up for you. In most of the areas, we have a nigga who has a wig on, some lashes on, makeup on, looking like me. Are you a man or are you a woman? What are you? Huh? Got some heels on, got some hipster jeans or trouser like me on, some crop top on, and that's a man who's supposed to be fighting for your country. These men, white people are really wicked. White people are really wicked. These people really destroyed us through education, through religion, as if it was not enough. They now came even with sexualization of making men and women believe, hey, you shouldn't be a man. You should be a woman. If you feel like you are a woman, it's okay to be a woman. Huh? In Africa. And sadly, today we've accepted this bullshit. We have. Shout out to Nigerians. I'm going to give Nigerians props. Nigerians don't tolerate this bullshit. Yeah, we do have some gays here and there, but trust me, they live in fear. In Nigeria. In Uganda, of course, we know it is stricter because of the government. But we don't lack gay men there. They are there. In Kenya, it is a norm. I'm not going to lie to you to filter the truth. In Kenya, we have gay men walking like it's a norm. I mean, a good example, they were invited at the State House 2-3 years ago for the Talanta whatever bullshit. And all the transgender looking like they were there, shaking the president's hand. And you try to understand why this is actually happening and why it is normalized. Oh, it even runs deep, allegedly, even amongst the politicians. Allegedly. Huh? Allegedly. Yeah, there are clubs. I don't know if they are really gay clubs, but these people are everywhere now, jibba jabba. They don't even hide anymore. They don't hide. They don't. Like, they don't. But there are places, let me tell you, like places like, let me say to be specific. In Nairobi, the city, it's the city life, right? And Nairobi is like a New York, people say, or I don't know why people call Nairobi New York. I don't know, because of the development of the streets. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, the city life. So the city life, nobody's going to bother with you in the city. Do your goddamn shit. Whatever you want to do. Trust me. You want to become a whore. You want to become a lesbian. You want to become a prostitute. Nobody gives a shit about you in Nairobi street. Nobody. Trust me. This is why you hear there's always a common word said, Nairobi ni mji wa wajanja. That is a Swahili term. Nairobi is a city for smart people. If you're not smart, you come here acting dumb. Oh, you have to be smart, not gay smart, not lesbian smart. I'm not that. You have to be, I don't know what happened. Okay, there we go. You have to be smart because there are so many men right now, even tourists, who will go to a club exactly because they're in clubs. They'll go to a club, they think that is a lady, or you take them to your house, it's a whole nigger. You know how many cases we've had of that? And then they're beaten almost to death because someone went to the club, they met a transgender, and of course, because they look like a lady so bad, they decided to take this lady looking like a man, or this man looking like a lady, to their house and find out it's a man. And they go crazy. They're like, dang, how did I even do this? How did this happen? How was I convinced? Yeah. Because nowadays they know how to even beat their faces more than us. It's crazy. So this bullshit of lacking dignity is what has gotten us here.
We are committed to strengthening our partnership in key areas such as investment, innovation, agriculture, healthcare, education, diplomatic training, and emerging technologies, all with the aim of advancing the well-being and prosperity of our people.
Today, we are growing our relationship further with the two MOUs we had signed on the training of diplomats and on political dialogue between our ministries. These agreements will bring us closer together and create new opportunities for cooperation.
Both ministers signed 2 memoranda of understanding aimed at expanding cooperation between the two countries.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so that is what is happening between DRC and Israel, and of course, bet more deaths now, probably more. It's not like it's anything new. It's been happening, but this is just so sad. We just need lots of bubble gums, you know. We should have all these puppets where they are seated somewhere, probably you see in the African Union, you know, and they should be bubblegum blown, if you get what I'm saying. There, to no survival. You should not survive. No survival. And if you found actually in a mode of survival, in any sort of way, like a movie I was watching over the weekend, you know, of some it was some military movie. I don't even remember how it was called, but it was really, really cool. I really loved it. So in the military, so this is how the movie went. So there was the commander. So when these people are sent on a mission, let me just give a quick brief about it. I don't know so much about this military shit. Shout out to Keith, he knows it. But yeah, they were sent on a mission. Then after being sent on a mission, there was this one guy who was notorious. So the first mission they went, he killed civilians. So when they came back from the mission, the guy who saw them killing the civilians didn't tell the truth on the court. He protected him, thinking he's going to change his ways. So they go on another mission, and then now he's the commander, the guy who protected the other guy. And then he's like, hey, this time we're gonna go with you. I saved you there because I believe you're a brother. We've been doing this together for a very long time. And whatever you did, if you said it was a mistake, let me believe you because that's what you told me, right? Because he came in when he was killing a kid. So he said, the kid was about to shoot me. What kid says every time, even if you're sent on a mission and a kid is there, you never know if they have a bomb on them and you might blow up with them. So the kid actually had a gun. So he was about to shoot, but he had already killed civilians without even them having any weapons. So it was not justifiable enough because you had already killed civilians who had no weapons. The kid, yes, had a weapon, but the other civilians didn't have any weapons and they were not rebels. You are supposed to save them. So long story short, They went on a second mission. The guy again found some women who were trapped somewhere. They were being sexually assaulted. So they're supposed to rescue them. And they were told to call, I think, where they're supposed to report to and say they're civilians, they're saving before anything. So the guy decided to bomb the women there instead of rescuing them, right? So the other guy, the commander, comes and is like, damn, you've done it again. Now it's me and you being on a war. So right then, they had to bomb the whole place because that's where the rebels were and sexually exploiting women. So after those women had died that were supposed to be rescued, there's one lady that remained. So the commander came and saw the lady and he saved her. So the other guy came back and he's like, oh, you came to save us. You came to save a rebel. He's like, she's not a rebel. She's a civilian and she's not, she doesn't have weapons. So they start fighting. Long story short, the building blows. And the guy thought that the guy was killing innocent people, had died in that bomb. But he had not died. So he came back for revenge. Now he started killing the family of this ex-commander now. Started killing his brother, the wife, started hunting the niece, killing everyone close to them. So long story short, it was just a beautiful movie. It's the same now with, if we have these people in the African Union, none of them should survive because they're going to come back for revenge. None of them should survive. They shouldn't. These people should be held accountable because of what they're doing. This is actually you signing death deal with Israel. There's nothing like collaboration, cooperation bullshit here. Nothing. Gets crazy and crazier. On the other end, we have South Africans. Their xenophobic behavior still continues. Let's listen to this, Gazi. Continue.
I don't need permission in Uganda. MTN is a South African company, reaching millions from Africa. They are killing our people in South Africa. I want to call you Ugandans to raise up against any South African here, whether legal or illegal. We want to say this installation here, we have never segregated them. But I think South Africans are used to violence. And if they are used to violence, we will give them the same in equal measure. I'm not stopping the work here. I'm simply picketing. And you journalists and the Ugandans come up against any South African. This is their installation. Any South African, we ask them to leave this country. We ask them to leave this country. Or else we can give the equal measure. Stanbic Bank is their bank. We can go there together. Stanbic Bank. They are getting from Ugandans, from fellow Africans, and really treating us in that way. This one is their bank. This one here is their bank. Without any fear of interference and arrest, I'm making what we call a picket. This bank here gives profits to the government of South Africa. I pity President Cyril Ramaphosa, who is a father-in-law to this country. But the pressure he has gone through is very bad. We can't treat fellow Africans, black Africans, the way they are doing. If there is any South African here, let them leave. And I want to incite you, Ugandans, in a clean way, humble way. We know they are investors. Let them leave. We can employ Ugandans in their own installation. And that will not sit back simply when they are killing. Nasima Ronald is dead, killed in South Africa from my home. And we cannot just simply. The Ugandans who are here, please listen to me. Bana South Africa, batumala wo. Wachife, tulekebya bwe nebakolera wa.
Yeah, so that is what is happening in Uganda. As we have Kenyans being forced to sweep the road, which they said no, that is not their job. Just because I'm in Uganda as a Kenyan, That is not, I'm not a citizen of this country, so I'm not sweeping no goddamn road. Me too. I'll not sweep some dust. There's no development in that country, but not the point. On this other end, of course, you can see Ugandans, they're mad. This guy, to be specific, and some maybe. And this is coming, of course, definitely from a point of those who have been affected directly by this issue of xenophobia by South Africans, right? And what we need to understand is that we have a common enemy, Africans. The same banks you're calling out, those same banks, maybe under different names, are in Uganda. The same banks are in Kenya. The same banks are in South Africa. The same banks are in DRC Congo. The same banks are in every African country, controlled by the same people, who, of course, are enjoying, like I said, it's a squid game, who are watching us being divided. They are enjoying this. They're like, look at this dumbass. He doesn't even understand the same banks actually are the same banks in Uganda, but under different names. Africa, we have a common enemy. South Africans need education. That's all. I won't speak so much about South Africa. They still piss me off. So I'm not going to dwell my energy on that today. Not even one bit. But we need to understand we have a common enemy. You see the enemy we just saw in DRC Congo? Signing deals. Those animal-like behavior people signing deals. Oh, and they just bought a land in Kenya. Oh, let me also remind you, they also fenced South Africa. South Africa itself, after buying a land, keeping South Africans themselves, who are so stupid to not even understand what's happening, out of their own land. Oh, those are our enemies, a part of our enemies. So we have one common enemy. The pig-like skin, okay? Not the melanin skin. The pig-like skin is our enemy, and they enjoy this. And if we keep up with this, and sadly, which already Museveni allowed after, of course, he was instilled in power, Indians still came back to Uganda, which Idi Amin fought, you know. And you guys understanding, actually looking at your history, you should understand better who is your enemy. The white people. Africans were just being divided. This is a weapon now which is going to be used upon us to be divided as a continent just because of one country, just because of some non-educated group of people. Now we're all gonna look like stupid people if we follow the same suit of saying, oh, they shouldn't, oh, let's get, nah. Let them thrive. Come on, they say keep your enemies closer, don't they? You should invite South Africans, as a matter of fact. Come, you know, come invest in our country. We show you we don't have the same behaviors as you, because that will teach them a lesson. It will teach them a lesson. I don't know. Maybe my critical thinking is way better than how most of the Africans reason. So, hey, I wish us the best. On the other end, we have the president who is calling for African nations to work together. Oh, we work together. What you need to tell your men is to reduce some. We cannot work together with these overweight people. You know, I cannot work with an overweight person like this. No, please. This is some whole booty juice smelling here. You know, and a lot of they're exhausted too easily. Cannot. How do we work with this? This is a lazy ass, eating ass, and complainer. You ever seen someone who's lazy, always eating, and they don't work? This is South Africans. So I don't know how we're gonna work together, but you have a lot of job to do. You have a lot of work to do. Ugandans are saying no, Kenyans are saying no, Nigerians are saying no, Ghanaians are saying no. So I don't know how you're gonna help yourself. How you want other people to help you if you can't help yourself.
South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa called on Monday for African countries to cooperate on migration.
Cooperate. Is the audacity. Cooperate.
His appeal to the Pan-African Parliament.
This man has not even issued a public apology to Africans. He hasn't. This man has not opened his goddamn mouth to say, I apologize as the president of this country on behalf of my citizens who have behaved in a very unexpected manner and affected many people's lives. He has not held himself accountable for being a bad leader, number one.
Parliament follows weeks of anti-immigrant protests led by groups who blame undocumented migrants for unemployment, crime, and strain on public services. Ramaphosa warned that unmanaged cross-border movements could undermine security and social order. He said no country should address the challenge alone. Ramaphosa is facing growing criticism from other African governments over attacks on their citizens in South Africa. Last week, a Nigerian national died while under arrest in Cape Town. Abuja has accused police of using egregious tactics that led to his death. Tens of thousands of African migrants have left South Africa over the last 2 months, with countries including Ghana, Nigeria, and Malawi helping to repatriate their citizens.
Yeah, so I don't know how we're going to work together, but I wish you all the best. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to dwell so much in that because our enemies are always thriving in our division. So if you don't understand that, hey, I have nothing to tell you. I have nothing to clearly tell you. But as we shift in general of all that conversation, let's look at these videos and then I'll share a video about. After I share another one, I'm going to share now the history of a certain coup that happened in Kenya. This is not taught in our history again. Let me just remind you, I have never, in my years of studying, did I ever know. I knew this. I think I actually learned about this. Was it last year? I saw an article about it. I was like, dang, we've had a coup in Kenya before? I was like, damn, okay. I mean, I remember there were rumors about Moi being overthrown, but I didn't know there was actually an actual attempt. I thought it was the same bullshit as Ruto when people go to the streets and then he says, oh, this is a coup d'etat, they want to overthrow the government. That is Ruto currently. So I thought it was the same BS. Actually, this is history, you know, but is it anywhere in our books? Nowhere. I, as Joby, have not done any history or social studies about where in 1982 Kenya had a coup. Maybe in today's generation of education, I mean, my brother probably has learned about it, but I haven't. I didn't. I didn't. Okay. Of course, not just Kenya. Many African countries have had coups. And looking at our first conversation, we started with Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso, as we've been following up, there's been so many transitions or many transformations that have happened in the country since he took power. But of course, I've been saying he had to understand something and understand the pattern of what was always going wrong when militaries take over the government. There's always something that went wrong. And since he understood it so well and is bold enough to talk about it, he tells you who are the problem, who are the enemies, how it is done, how it is funded, how it is put out for you to keep on thinking Africa has a problem. But for real, we have one common enemy. But let's look at this generally in politics.
So this funny comment says, Africa has so much potential, but they must get rid of their corrupt, socialist-style governments and embrace free markets. This is Exhibit A why many of us should really be listening more and speaking less when it comes to economics on the African continent, because this person couldn't be more wrong. Many African states today are far from socialist. They are capitalist. Worst of all, they are neoliberal capitalists. Neoliberalism in economics is capitalism on drugs. It is a stricter form of capitalism. So where capitalism is the accumulation of wealth by an individual, the control of capital, means of production and distribution by the individual, and neoliberalism, the role of government becomes defunct. The role of government is reduced or it is completely neutered. There is no government regulation or control. So that's why you see in places like Kenya, my home country, someone like a Bill Gates will come in and make decisions that will affect the entire nation just like that.
Exactly. But you're being told he's a philanthropist. Oh my God, he has money, so much money. So he just thinks he should just go to Africa. Just Africa. Why don't you have those homeless, drug addicts, zombie looking like people on the streets of America? God damn it, you're coming to Africa to do what? Huh? We have zombie walking like people who are homeless. You know, why don't you have those people go to rehab? Why don't you have those people get jobs, reform themselves, reform their lives? Since you're making America great, why won't you make America great starting with the people? Why do you care so much about Africa? Yet you hate us so much. You really hate us so much, but you really care about us. Make that shit make sense. Oh no, it's not. Don't confuse love with hate. It's still hate. It comes in form of love. It comes in form of love. Or, you know, take these candies. Without understanding those candies have some poison to kill you immediately or after 6 years or a year. Take these rubber shoes. And those rubber shoes might cost you even to have the jiggers that they're trying to save you from. I was surprised you guys didn't know jiggers. The last time I talked about jiggers. Yeah. You're not going to help the homeless people, the drug addicts. You only care about Africa? Crazy.
Because, and we wonder, why does he have so much power? It is because Kenya is a neoliberal state. The state has been captured by corporations who make the rules. The laws of supply and demand reign, supersede everything. And so why do we even vote? So a key tenet of neoliberalism is the privatization of state assets. So you find the state does not have any control of things which are supposed to be public assets, like the state's airport. A country's airport is owned by one wealthy Indian family here or one wealthy British family there. Natural resources like trees, forests belonging to individuals, to corporations.
Imagine.
Mineral assets that are supposed to be sacred to the state, whose revenue, the revenue that they create is supposed to be distributed evenly amongst its citizens. Remember Libya's oil wealth, where Muammar Gaddafi took that and made sure that there were social safety nets for the people. Housing as a sacred fundamental right owed to every citizen. Free healthcare, free education up to a tertiary level. These things do not exist anymore on the African continent. They are a thing of the past. And it is extremely sad and concerning. So African states are far from socialist. Shell and BP own Nigeria. Name a country, you can find the owners and controllers of that country, and they will be corporations.
Exactly. Where we don't control nothing. We don't control anything. What? The power is in the word of you are a president, you are a senator, you are a member of parliament, you are an MC, yeah. You are a but what do you really control out of this position that you can fully say it's not tapped by, like she said, the corporations? Oh, nothing. From resources to the people. It's like we don't even own ourselves. We are owned and controlled by some white people who expect us to actually reason and move in a certain way. Do you know how crazy that is? Thinking about how deep that is? Yes. Like literally Africans, it's like as a people. Yes, we're owned, still owned by some white people, the colonizers, and they expect us This is why you see the police. Ruto is gonna be called, of course, immediately. What the fuck are you doing? Put those people in check. And of course, putting people in check goes back to the same colonial system, you know. Beat, kill, torture, which goes back to now the police system. Kill, beat, torture, abduct. That is how you're keeping us on check, huh? Oh, if we're too smart, what the hell are you doing? Get rid of that free system of education right now. Don't you see these people are too smart? Why the hell did we allow Kibaki to do this? Oh, it's too late. That's the sad part. Damn it. It's too late. As much as you're trying to dumb us down, we, the generation, the alpha generation, people are smart. People are smart. People are smart. We're the people passing knowledge to our younger people. Yeah, the books are lying to them. You come home, I tell you the truth. You better leave those facts you've been told at school there. Walk away with a few facts that are going to help you here and there, maybe in life, but they never help you in life, really. You're going to learn real life when you walk out and come to the streets. So I'm going to tell you the truth. You've been lied to here. You've been lied to here. Been lied to here. We're the ones teaching the information. It's too late for you to do that. So none of them. It's just, I'm a senator. I'm an MP. You guys remember that guy from the senator from Nigeria beating up someone who came to deliver you, who came to offer you service? You should have gone with your convoy or whatever to get whatever you wanted, that bushmeat. But since you can't go to the bush to hunt a meat, since you are a senator, now you live lavish, you forgot the village life. Now you want to send a bushman, a bush boy, to come get you your bushmeat. And when they take too long to deliver it to you and ask for their payments, you want to start, I'm a senator. Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? I'm a senator. Shit. It's crazy. It's crazy.
There will be companies. Neoliberalism, free markets that's the downfall of many of our African states, unfortunately.
Africa does not need democracy.
What do we need?
It's a smokescreen of lies, which allows imperialism and neocolonialism to continue. Africa needs dictators. Africa needs military dictators. Dictators in that they must dictate the right thing. We need people that are purposeful, cutting down the bureaucracy of democracy and getting things done. If you walk up into your parliament right now, you'll have papers the size of this room of good ideas that have never been implemented.
Exactly. I'd not aspire to be a member of parliament in this kind of system. You'll always have ideas, trust me, man, good ideas that can really, oh my God, but they will never, ever be discussed, debated. They'll always take some bullshit discussions that don't even concern us. They don't help us. Those are the ones they are pushing. Those are the bills they are pushing. And you still expect us to stay like this for the next 5 years. Next year, it's a war in this country. Kenya will set an example of what elections should be like. For once again, there'll be a reminder and more thorough, because this generation, the spirit of this generation, this is like the Mau Mau spirit for me, what I'm seeing in Kenya. Have you seen the videos of how many people turned out in the western part of Kenya for not even an aspiring president? He's just a senator who keeps these idiots on check with facts. Just a senator. Just a senator. A man of the people. If we're talking about someone who's for the people, I think we have one. Sifuna. I've been talking about Sifuna. Edwin Sifuna, the senator of Kenya. One of the senators of Kenya. This man has been keeping these idiots on check, and they hate it. They hate it really bad. Because for you to pull numbers to encourage people to come listen to your bullshit, you have to pay them 500 Kenyan shillings, 1,000 Kenyan shillings, 50 for them to turn up. Because nobody's willing to listen to your bullshit. You've been promising us things that never ever happen. We are tired. You're the same people. From Kenyatta to Moi to Kibaki. We give Kibaki props. I still give Kibaki props. I don't give a shit. He did amazing, and those are the results of what we can see, the mentality we have today. He was a puppet, but I think he knew. We were talking about this during the weekend with a group of people discussing politics, and we're like, man, you guys, Kibaki might have left maybe Kenya in a certain space, yeah, but he did the most. And I think him, of course, being a puppet too, he was smart enough to see, hey, I may not have the power to turn Kenya to what I wish it to be as a president because of the colonial masters who are still in check, right? But I do have the power to give these people education, to stay educated, to know what's ahead. Because the same people we have in politics today, they're the same people he was working with during that time. And of course, these people have meetings, they have discussions, or now maybe probably this presidential line is going to go along. Or how they're going to keep, of course, because it's always a circle, how this political elite system, you know, this system can be kept just amongst themselves. No newbies, no nothing. Just us, let's grow old here. Let's employ our children, our great-grandchildren, our unborn grandchildren. We put even lands on unknown-born grandchildren. They will be born. You don't worry, they'll be born. Just put my name there and put Kibaki, we don't give a here. He was smart enough. That's what I say about Kibaki, according to me. He didn't have the power to change Kenya to maybe what he wanted it to be as a president if he was left alone. Because that's what we say. If Africa left alone, we can do magic. And that was where we were during Kibaki's time. Kenya was slowly transforming, like in really beautiful ways. People had jobs, not like today. People had jobs, not that people had jobs more than today, actually. Yeah. But today, one call away. One call away.
Odds that have never been finished.
They're not going to allow that bullshit of Kibaki again. They have the eyes on us.
Buildings and hospitals that have not been repaired, but budget approved and voted. It's in the pipeline. It's in the pipeline. And in the midst of that pipeline, procurement, corruption, and preferential procurement, looting and stealing is happening. How does a minister walks into government with 50,000 shillings become a millionaire in 2 years?
I know, Maponga. Make it make sense. I know. Me too, I wonder. I really wonder. And you know, yesterday I even got mad. I was having an argument with someone over the phone talking about, oh, so-and-so cannot become a president because we're talking about Sifuna. So-and-so cannot become a president because, oh, they have to go all the stages of politics so that they can now become what? That's the bullshit of white people and what they've been telling us for the longest time. I'm still pissed off about it. What do you mean they cannot become they can? Ibrahim Traore is a whole president at 30 what? At 30 what? Did he go for any education about how he should become a president? Are there classes of how one should become a president? Let me know, please. Maybe I don't know. And if they are, how comes these idiots cannot do what they're supposed to be doing, what they have studied? It's all corruption, nepotism, and tribalism. Oh, okay, cool. Me, someone who has not studied politics that deep, and I know if I have the money, I have the resources, I have the people. What is so hard for me to do? It is just a matter of delivering. What is so hard for me to do? What is so hard for me to take this, make use of my resources, make use of my people, which is giving them jobs? What is so hard to do? Oh, I need masters and degrees for me to become a president. Is that what you're telling me? I get that. I was like, man, let's change the subject because you're really pissing me off. Like, you're really pissing me off. You're the reason why we've been having many generations of thinking this way. Because you think, oh, they need to study what? I've already studied enough. I've understood the system, how it works. And this system is rigged. It's fake. It doesn't work. It's a system of exploitation and corruption and non-accountability. So what the hell, from this understanding, must I go get a degree from? About what? I need to know. Someone help me. Know what? Has Ibrahim Traore taken a break to go learn about what these presidents were doing for him to correct? He grew up in a system understanding that it was not working from the word go. We have puppets who are allowing these things to happen in our country. And him being on a in military, he was like, hey, and understood everything. I'm taking over and unapologetically. And I'll do it. Watch and see. What do you need around you? Of course, good advisors, definitely. Good accountants. You know, people keeping the finances on check and correctly. You know, people here, you just need people. You need people. You need your people. You don't need white people to tell you how to run a country. Shit. that conversation really pissed me off yesterday. Like, what do you mean? So and so cannot become a president. They can. They can. You just don't want to. You don't want to reason and see them that they cannot do it without this fucked up system of, oh, you start with a member of parliament. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. Based on my smartness, I don't think so. You know too much for you to go study. Study what? So far, the education we've been given, how has it helped us? People don't even know history. And you are being told to go study what? Shit.
Why are we still going to the United Nations as Africans? That is a useless entity. It's not for us. The largest voting bloc in the United Nations are the African nations. We don't have a seat on the table. Why do we go there? We go to the United Nations to vote on their issues. They pay African countries, or vote with us on this issue. Vote with us on this issue. We have no business going to the United Nations, period.
Thank you. We have no business with this. We have nothing. We have nothing, Dr. Arikana. But no, hey.
We need to tell Secretary Guterres, thank you very much, but we're no longer going to attend United Nations. It's not our entity. Until we have true representation there. Goodbye. With every engagement with the West. For example, Zimbabwe and many other African countries, the remains of our ancestors who they murdered are still sitting in jars in their countries. Why are we going to engage them?
Imagine.
We want those remains returned with repercussions. Until that's happened, everybody from your country, out. If you were former Portuguese colony or Portuguese, get out of my country. Get out.
I know.
If we can just make that position, your government is abusing us.
Let me tell you. And this is why now I'm starting to also understand. This is why they don't want also women in power. Because are you listening to how she's talking? Yeah, that's how we're supposed to be having these men talking with their bass or soprano voices, whatever they have. We have, of course, men with soprano voices and they are politicians. Shout out to Kenyans for making fun of them. How do you even have a soprano and you're a man in politics? Get the fuck out of here and go grow up and be a man. Come back with some voice. Speak to me like a man. What are you saying? That is our vice president of Kenya. Imagine. With a whole soprano voice. And that is a man we're supposed to be listening to with what he says. Uhuru Kenyatta, Rita. The hell are you saying? Again, is this a man or is this a lady? Shit. It's crazy. This is why they don't want women in power. Because why? We have the fighting spirit in us. We have that fighting spirit so alive in us. It's never died. Despite the raping, the torture, The trauma. Women still have that fighting spirit every goddamn day. And prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Where you won't see a woman fighting her way out to ensure her children survives. When a man is gone out there to drink and comes back drunk and doesn't even care if you guys ate, even go to work. Went to get milk, came back drunk. Are you crazy? Like, and I expect you to fight some maybe thugs who attack us during the night while you're dead ass drunk. Shit. Oh God, it's crazy, man. It is crazy. This is the reason why they have ensured if women have to get in power, it has to be through sexual favors, sadly, so that they can also, again, kill your dignity, because it's about your dignity. The moment you're going to bend down for someone to get a job, your dignity is gone. Coochie for job? Are you kidding me? Those men will always keep on disrespecting you, talking the shit out, talking so much, talking down on you. Don't we see it in our parliaments? We do. We do. Trust me, the drama is every day. Every day. How these men talk down on these women is like, yeah, I went through your underwear. What the hell are you telling me? You see? I'm like, damn. Even if you went through my underwear, you're going to talk like that? You're going to talk like that? You're gonna just talk like that to me? Shit. You got this. You should have gotten it from hell. But yeah, men again. Men are just men. Yeah. Coochie is everywhere. So yeah, if you don't do it, someone else will. Yeah, right? Shit. This is the reason. Because of this talking power. Because of this spirit. And like me, they don't want us in that position. Trust me. Because we're no nonsense. Women are fighters. Women are fighters. They knew if they allow a system where women came in, they're going to be held accountable probably. There's going to be justice demanded. There's going to be, of course, a back and forth. Women are not going to allow just you molest children and we're cool with that. I mean, it's only these white idiots we see that. Talk about that when it comes to white women who allow and even watch their men rape their children. It's a culture. Are you kidding me? It's a culture of you watching your husband rape your children, molest your child, a whole pedophile, and you're okay with that? Oh my God. And you call that your husband? Ain't you ashamed? Shit. Disgusting.
Your government is refusing to give us back our ancestors, the remains of our ancestors who they murdered. Your government is refusing to give us back our artifacts, precious artifacts, priceless, that they stole. Until these wrongs, these blatant wrongs are righted, every British citizen get out. Every Portuguese citizen get out. Every German citizen.
That's why she was fired.
Get out.
We forget why she was fired from the African Union, right?
You see how quickly things will
They'll
change.
move from there.
The citizens do not know of the crimes that are being committed by their governments. So let's put the power back to the people. Let's remind the people that every constitution starts with we, the people. So let's make those citizens, they must succeed in their civic duties.
That's why I love what the Namibian president is doing. Shout out to her. She has actually employed and put in position so many women than men. Literally, which is something we saw recently. The Kenyan, I think it was the Kenyan, was it the judiciary? I don't remember. One of the two. They were requesting. They were talking about the inequality, the imbalanceness that always happens when it comes to the cabinet secretaries. They are majority. They are all men. And again, if it's a woman, bend down, get your position. All right, I'll insert your position inside you. Yeah.
We, the people are the ones who are failing. Let's come together. Let's understand the issues. And so for those of us who are elders, who are in the know, we have a responsibility to educate and inform. Once the citizens are empowered with knowledge and the understanding of what is really going on, I do know for a fact, the average citizen of the world wants a righteous world, a world that is free of hate, racism, bigotry.
Right.
That's what the average citizen wants.
Living a dream, living the African dream.
Are you planning?
Yeah, so this is just super crazy. So let me share this one, then we go to the history of Kenya.
In the last 20 years, Africa has had 60 coups. 60 coups. Coups in Africa aren't accidents. They're features of the system, not bugs. Africa is not unstable. Africa is structurally designed to be overthrown by soldiers, by elites, by foreign hands, by anybody bold enough to drive into the capital before sunrise. Let's talk about it. For those that don't know me, my name is Timothy and I run a WhatsApp group for the Black Diaspora, a place where we study the moves the world makes around us. Every day, we break down global shifts, political patterns, and the power plays shaping Black futures everywhere. We also host a Zoom meeting every last Friday of the month. Both links are in the bio. African leaders didn't inherit weak systems from colonialism. They preserved the colonial system because it made it easy to rule and even easier to be overthrown. Colonialism taught them something. If you put all power in one spot, the capital city, you only need to control that one spot to run the entire country. And guess what? They kept that blueprint. So now in most African countries, you've got the presidency, the parliament, the courts, the media houses, the central bank, the military command, the intelligence headquarters, all sitting on the same street, eating at the same restaurants, protected by the same soldiers they underpay. Of course, coups are going to happen. Why won't they? Africa is the only continent where you can seize one city and you hijack 40 million people. Meanwhile, Westerners are sitting there pretending they don't understand why coups happen. In the US, for example, you can't take over Washington and declare yourself president. Texas won't even answer your email. In the UK, seizing London doesn't give you control of Manchester, Birmingham, or the BBC. But in Africa, you take the capital and your WhatsApp status updates to new administration loading. Because the power is stacked like Jenga blocks, and anyone with enough guns or foreign backing can kick it over.
No, really, we don't need foreign backing. We need foreign backing because understand the real coups, if we're talking about the real coups, like an Ibrahim Traore, no foreign backing. Unless it's a fake one, like the Guinea one, then that's foreign backed. Because why is this idiot still in power and he has not even done anything? Oh, overthrew his cousin, but still the same bullshit. People oppressed, no jobs, exploitation, stealing of resources. Extension of presidential term. You're talking about, please.
African leaders love centralized power because it protects them, not the country. And guess who else loves it? Foreign intelligence agencies, mining corporations, neo-colonial governments, multinationals. Because if all power sits in one room, you only have to bribe one person. You don't need to lobby 50 states. You don't need to win elections. You don't even need to build anything. You just call the right general at 2 a.m., you wire them some money, and you have a new government by sunrise.
Yeah, if the puppet is not loyal, understand that. Because coups, there's two types of coups. Exactly. The foreign funded or the Western funded type of coup, and there's a real revolutionary coup. A revolutionary coup, like the Alliance Sahel state. Now, before wasting much more of the time, because I see it's running out, we are almost coming to the end of our show today. Let's look at Kenya, the history of Kenya a little bit, till what time will allow us, about this coup that happened, that this guy only ruled for 6 hours. Again, this is not in history. Just to pause on it. Christine, did you learn in history about the coup that happened in 1982? Shule? Yeah. No. You Ujai about Moi? Yeah, so confirmed. This was never in our school system. So you don't think I'm exaggerating shit? Yeah. Yes. At home is Tuka. She's also shocked. Exactly. So let's look at this, because we have government funded coups and we have real coups, which are revolutionary.
On August 1st, 1982, at 3 a.m. in the morning, a voice came over Kenya's national radio. At the Voice of Kenya, Senior Private Hezekiah Ochuka announced that President Daniel Arap Moi had been overthrown.
My dear countrymen, here is an announcement. It is with the greatest pleasure that I announce to you today the overthrow of the corrupt regime of Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi by the patriotic forces of our country.
For 6 hours, that voice was reality. Even Moi couldn't counter it. By nightfall, hundreds were dead. Soldiers, civilians, even university students. The coup had failed. The crime was treason. The penalty was death. The story usually ends there. A random mutiny, junior airmen who snapped, military indiscipline, and nothing more. But these men did not act in a vacuum. Just weeks before, Moi had formally made Kenya a de jure one-party state with the introduction of Section 2A. By 1982, every legitimate path to change had been closed. In this episode, we examine the 1982 attempted coup, not just the 6 hours it lasted, but the political context that produced it. What led Moi to make Kenya a one-party state? What climate shaped the mutineers? And why would figures long associated with Kenya's opposition later find themselves drawn into its shadow? Be sure to like the video if you enjoy it and subscribe to the channel for more historic stories from Kenya. To understand why junior airmen would risk a treasonous coup in 1982, you must start with the foundational promise of Kenyan independence: land. At independence, the new government promised to resettle landless Kenyans on former settler farms.
Where till to date? 60-something years later. Where till to date? Where is that compensation of the land? The last Mau Mau freedom fighter just died without any compensation. Where? We watched a documentary a few months ago this year about how the Mau Mau freedom fighters have been fighting with evidences eliminated, deleted, oh my God, witnesses missing, every type of shit. Till to date, where? Okay.
In practice, much of that land was absorbed by politically connected elites, overwhelmingly clustered around President Jomo Kenyatta's inner circle from the central region.
And this I understand, this started even from the word go. Jomo Kenyatta was also still old even when they were picking him. He was not really that young. Not really.
Even many Kikuyus, including former Mau Mau fighters who had fought for that land, remained poor and landless.
Good guy.
Oginga Odinga, Kenya's first vice president, watched it happen from the inside. He had been there since the very infancy of the nation, and he watched the promise of Uhuru hollow out. On April 14th, 1966, he resigned, accusing Kenyatta of presiding over a dictatorship and economic imperialism. For Odinga, Kenya had achieved only legal freedom, not the political, economical, or spiritual liberation envisioned by the anti-colonial struggle.
However, wananchi, my honest opinion is that the present government has reached a point of no return. It can only do for the people the little that the underground master allows it to do. Its guiding star has become personal gain. I therefore find it impossible to be part of it And my decision is that from now on, I should be free to join with Wananchi in demanding that their voice be heard.
His response was to form the Kenya People's Union, KPU, Kenya's first genuine opposition party after independence. They campaigned on land distribution, workers' rights, and devolved power, framing every demand as a direct response to the government's broken promises. Odinga's alliance with socialist-leaning states reinforced his ideological stance against what he saw as Kenya's neo-colonial alignment with the West.
So as early as this, we're just from the so-called fake independency. Fake as independency. Pardon my language, but it is as truth as it sounds. Fake independency. As early as this was, now the colonial masters have left, right? Kenya is now free. People should get their lands back. Of course, go back to their normal routine. Means jobs should be available. There should be equality, But no, this was the beginning of the problems. We're already facing problems few years just after the so-called fake independency. This is where we should have started questioning this bullshit. From people who are living in harmony to now people who are demonstrating like goats who are looking for water, or cows looking for a river source to drink water. There has been Africans from the first word go, when this so-called freedom was sold to us or given to us. If people should have known, you should have continued just fighting. Should have just continued fighting. We should have been born just like DRC Congo. We know we are fighting, and until we are done, we are fully free. We're not gonna claim independency. But no. We had some glass of wine and some library, and some idiot was told, take this and want you to manage this country under our rules. So of course the white people can continue with the same oppression. What do you expect? They continued with the same oppression, controlling your land, ensuring most of you go starving, even after losing your lands because you have nowhere to farm now. This is where aid comes in, right? They steal your lands, no farming, you're hungry. What are you supposed to do? Go back the same government, we should deliver food to you. Oh my God. Yet you are never depending on the government. Never. We never even had this bullshit of this government. We had working kingdoms that cared about the people, the communities, the societies. To this, of course, what do you expect? The white people just kept some managers and they continued with their work. They say this, they think they are free. We'll ensure they suffer under their own people. Now, this time, it's not us. So they have their people to blame. And it has been working. Look at that. Look at this. Till to date, we are suffering under the hands of our very own people. Crazy.
Odinga's departure from Kanu triggered a mass defection. The Kenya People's Union swept central Nyanza, modern-day Kisumu, and Siaya, claiming every parliamentary seat. In Bondo, Odinga himself reclaimed his constituency by a landslide. Luo Nyanza had become the KPU's unshakable stronghold. The silencing of KPU and the sentiments it popularized would come through an expected turn of events. Tom Mboya, the reformist minister for economic planning and a senior figure in Kanu, was assassinated in broad daylight in Nairobi. Though a Luo, he was not aligned with Oginga.
See, who do we have here? See, who is this? Who is this?
Odinga or the KPU, instead operating independently within the ruling party, advocating a centralized, merit-based state. His agenda threatened powerful patronage networks within Kenyatta's inner circle as he was seen as the next in line for presidency. Yet, his killing carried implications beyond factional politics. Because Mboya was not KPU affiliated, the assassination appeared to be targeting Luo leadership itself, not just the opposition.
Like Odinga, he was a member of the Luo tribe, and his presence in the government did much to maintain tribal harmony. As long as he was there, most Luos felt they could trust the government despite its Kikuyu majority. But in 1969, Mboya was shot dead by a Kikuyu gunman. His death had a shattering impact on the nation, and the Luos especially felt betrayed and leaderless.
Suspicion hardened after the accused gunman reportedly asked why they hadn't gone for the big man, reinforcing the belief that the murder was not an act of a lone individual. When President Kenyatta visited Kisumu on October 25, 1969, in the presence of Oginga Odinga to open the new Nyanza General Hospital, he entered an atmosphere shaped by unresolved grief, detentions.
See white people, white people everywhere on check. You Negro, you gotta understand this. If not, you're next, okay? You're next. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna pay you to play, mind games with these Kenyans. Let's keep it a tribe. This is why the opposition now, of course, that's fully active. It's now activated. Because what are these white people telling Oginga Odinga here? Oh, you better watch your mouth. You better watch your mouth. We're gonna pay you. You can keep up with the act. We're gonna fund your political party for you to continue with all this scheme. But don't you dare try act like a revolutionist here. We're coming for you. We're watching you.
Political exclusion. He was heckled. What followed was not crowd control. It was a massacre. Presidential guards opened fire on unarmed civilians, killing and wounding dozens.
Wow.
Kenyatta's response was absolute.
Of course.
Hold on, Joby. Hold on. You're getting deep, so I got to come in for a second. Mm-hmm. You're getting deep. Let me say my 2-minute thing before you go crazy.
Okay.
Okay. Because you're going pretty deep here. Okay. Jomo was a puppet. And so Odinga knew it. It was trying to say we've been lied to in the beginning, like Joe was saying in the beginning. It was set up as a puppet government to begin with, Joe. But they gave that more on the library and his white woman. So he was never a mama fighter. The story about Kenyatta is all fake and phony. He was the British puppet to make sure the land never went back to black people. Mm-hmm. That land was to stay in white people's hands while they put him there, while they made him the president. So, but shout out to you for getting it, the fake independence. So, but then you also can understand, Joe, the Kenyans that you're talking about back then, they were not educated. The masses of Kenyans, imagine a mass of people, Joby, that are illiterate and no education at all. So they don't know what's going on. They don't even know what's going on. They just see, okay, the white people, we don't see white people, even though you see a black face, but it's still a black, you now see a black face, but it's a white person behind the black face. So you're not smart enough to know that back then, Joe. We just say, oh, we got a black person and we rule Kenya, even though you don't. And shit ain't changed. So that's what's happening. So shout out to you. I'm gone. I'm going to put a caveat to it because you get deep and you asking all the right questions and you do it. So I just wanted to put that there so I understand what you're dealing with. That I think they killed that Odinga guy. I think they killed his ass. They made him because he's a threat. Okay. Yeah, I think they killed him, and that's why you got it. His son just died, or his grandson just died, whatever. The one you guys said, that little thing. I think they end up killing his ass because he's a threat to white power.
They first killed Tom Mboya. Tom Mboya was also, of course.
Yeah. Tom Mboya. That's the one. Yeah, that's the one we're talking. That's the one that Malcolm X then brought to America. Because that's when they brought to America and so he was too dangerous to white people. Yeah, all this. Understand the Black American Civil Rights Movement and Malcolm X, they're all attached with Kenya. That's why the Black Panthers were attached to the Mau Mau. And understanding they wanted to speak Swahili. This is all your goofy FBA, this is all black struggle that they understand they were one people, like Joe was saying in the beginning, fighting one criminal white people system. They understood that then. But all right, Joe, I'm done. Yeah, you got deep with it, so I'm gone.
In days, the government banned the KPU outright. Odinga and other leaders were detained without trial. The door to legal opposition was completely shut. Mboya's assassination fundamentally altered the nature of Kenya's political conflict.
Till to date, kill, abduct, torture, till to date.
What had once been an ideological struggle between Kenyatta's crony capitalism and Odinga's left-leaning vision of redistribution was recast as something else entirely. Politics was no longer framed as a contest of ideas, but as a tribal confrontation.
Till to date.
Kikuyu versus Luo.
Till to date.
Ethnicity became the language through which loyalty was mobilized and accountability dissolved. Kenyatta's response was the oath, a ritual administered largely within the Kikuyu community, presented as an act of solidarity and self-defense against external threats. It was framed as protection, a mechanism to preserve communal unity in a moment of political danger.
There's oathing, the 69 oath, 1969 oath.
Explain.
Where all people of Mount Kenya, excuse me, are trooping to Gatondo, to Jomo Kenyatta's home, to take oath. And where even school-going children are being asked to take oath.
And what was the oath?
The oath, as I heard it then, was to say for those of us from the mountainside that the presidency will not go beyond Mount Kenya. It will not go especially.
And that
tribalism, like you just said, tribalism.
And that battle till to date is there. We can see Gachagua literally reviving that same thing that Jomo Kenyatta did, saying that, oh, the Mount Kenya people, the Mount what people, we should not, the same bullshit till to date.
To the Luo nation.
Oh my God, this is
Wamera, you know?
Yes.
There is fear that they will come for my father. They do not say who they are, but you know it's bad people. Because he's going to be either brutalized or killed. And we hear
because of not going for oathing.
Yes, there are people already killed for not going for oathing in Kiambu and other parts of the country.
And this, by the way, let me say it is by your own.
That claim only holds if the oath was actually about protecting the community, not silencing dissent within it. Because if the oath had truly been about protecting Kikuyus from external enemies, then a wealthy, influential Kikuyu MP who spoke out against inequality should have been untouchable. He was not. On March 2nd, 1975, the mutilated body of Josiah Mwangi Kariuki, known as JM, was discovered in Ngong Hills. Kariuki was no outsider. He was a Kikuyu, a former Mau Mau detainee, a successful businessman, and one of the most popular MPs in the country. But he was also a vocal critic of the regime. JM looked at what Kenya had become and said the quiet part out loud. Kenya has become a nation of 10 millionaires and 10 million beggars.
Exactly. He said the quiet part allowed that white people made these fake Negroes money, put these puppets in power, and everybody else is starving, and all the money still goes to white people. So it's a fake country. So he couldn't say the quiet part loud because they had to kill it. That's what you're dealing with. So, and they got you thinking that Jomo Kenyatta is the father of the nation, all kind of that British propaganda. But it's really Jewish propaganda because the Jays control Britain. Okay? So it's all Jewish propaganda. So, yeah. Anyway, we got to deep this show.
Himself, Kariuki had campaigned for years on behalf of Kenya's poorer classes. In Parliament, as an unofficial opposition leader, he'd called for wide-ranging social reforms and had accused the government of installing a new African elite, which was no more interested in redistributing the nation's wealth than the colonial regime had been. A parliamentary investigation into his death pointed the finger at the security chief and other prominent members of the regime.
And now you know why the Kenyatta family owns a lot of Kenya and is controlled by the British. The same with the Kenyatta family. Remember, Jomo comes from poor people. So how's the Kenyatta family rich? Oh, this is what Joby's showing you.
By government ministers.
The pattern was now undeniable. The repression was never ethnic defense, it was elite self-preservation. When Jomo Kenyatta died in 1978, President Daniel Arap Moi inherited the presidency, and with it, the entire architecture of repression. But what he did not inherit was loyalty from Kenyatta and his inner circle, who never wanted him to be president. As Kalenjin, Moi was seen as an outsider. In the months before Kenyatta's death, members of the circle had even tried to change the constitution to prevent him from succeeding to power, but was saved by Charles Njonjo. And that was just the start for Moi. The frustration that would soon threaten him had been building for years, from growing opposition outside and from resentment within Kenyatta's inner circle from within, who viewed him as nothing but a passing cloud. The University of Nairobi became the epicenter of intellectual resistance. Students and lecturers read Oginga Odinga's Not Yet Uhuru, mourned assassinations of Tom Mboya and J.M. Kariuki, marched in protest, and debated Pan-Africanists' critiques of the state. To the regime, the campus was a factory of subversion. The special branch kept it under constant surveillance. But those ideas were not confined to political opposition or lecture halls. Within the Kenya Air Force, these ideas found fertile ground. The Air Force, the smallest and least prestigious service, felt exclusion most sharply. While army officers lived in official housing and advanced rapidly, airmen were confined to substandard quarters, poorly paid, and routinely passed over for promotion. Advancements followed connections, not competence. By 1982, the situation had reached a dead end.
But Joby said, so it doesn't work. Like Joby just said, it followed connections and not competence. It wasn't meritoriously. So it's who you knew got promoted. So morons run Kenya. Right? They tell you, the morons. Not the people that are competent, that are the smartest, called meritorious when you raise people up because of intelligence. It's who you know. So you got morons running the military in Kenya. Morons. And it hasn't been changed today. That's why these African nations can fight no wars. Because morons. Like Captain Crunch. Like Captain Crunch over there in fucking Uganda. You got morons running these fake militaries in Africa.
Literally.
Path for change had been shut. In that environment, when figures like Sergeant Pancras Oteo Okumu began speaking openly of overthrowing the government, Senior Private Hezekiah Ochuka required little convincing. But even among the plotters, ambition bred conflict. Ochuka and Sergeant Joseph Obuon had nearly come to blows over who would lead. Obuon argued he'd recruited more men, held senior rank, chaired the airmen's mess. Ochuka countered that his own recruits, including figures senior to both of them, would abandon the conspiracy if he wasn't made chairman. Only the intervention of Pancras Okumu, who urged Obuon to stand down, prevented the plot from collapsing before it even began. The government, alarmed by widespread talk of a coup, moved quickly to tighten control. In June 1982, Parliament passed Section 2A, officially turning Kenya into a one-party state under KANU. President Moi, on high alert, was informed by his intelligence director, James Kanyotu, that they had infiltrated an emerging coup plot among airmen. Kanyotu knew the plans and the plotters. On July 30th, 1982, he presented the evidence and names to Moi, requesting immediate authority to arrest them. Kanyotu had the names. He had the evidence. He asked for immediate authority to arrest them. Moi refused. Maybe he didn't want the attention and drama that mass arrests would bring. Or maybe it was a calculation, allowing the plot to proceed so he could crush it publicly and justify the crackdown that he'd been planning all along. Why Moi knew about the plot and still allowed it to happen is a mystery debated to date. But on the morning of August 1st, 1982, the airmen made their move. At 3 a.m. on August 1st, 1982, a full day ahead of schedule, the airmen struck. The original plan had been called for August 2nd, a Monday, carefully chosen when the Army's senior leadership would be away at war games in Lodwar. With the command structure physically absent, the plotters believed they had a narrow window. But whispers had reached them that their conspiracy had leaked, that arrests were imminent.
Pause it.
A stark choice.
I just say, I want you guys to look at the airplanes. This is the 80s. Them raggedy airplanes, those are all American airplanes from the 50s. Then they get Africa, all that old shit. Those airplanes you're watching, even back then, those airplanes are 30 years old. Those jets that are shown in the Kenyan thing, those jets are from the 1950s. Late 40s, early 50s, that old shit. That old raggedy shit they're riding around in. This is the 80s. Those planes they're in, you guys know any guys about military. Them planes are from the 1950s. God damn, go ahead.
Move now, with coordination already fraying or be rounded up before they could even begin. They moved. By 6 a.m., rebel airmen had seized both Isli and the Embakasi garrison. Those who lived near the bases woke up to sounds of a military takeover. At 6 a.m., Senior Private Hezekiah Ochuka and Pancras Oteur Okumu arrived at the Voice of Kenya radio station on Kijabe Street in central Nairobi. In 1982, controlling the radio meant controlling perceived reality. They forced veteran broadcaster Leonard Mamo Botella at gunpoint to read their statement, with the plotters themselves taking turns to broadcast their messages themselves.
Fellow Kenyans, over the past few years, this country has been shedding from an open to a closed, dictatorial, and inhuman society. The fundamental principles for which many of our people sacrificed their lives during the heroic struggle for independence have been compromised in the interest of a few greedy and irresponsible bandits. Over the past 6 months, we have witnessed with disgust the imposition of a de jure one-party system without the people's consent, arbitrary arrest and the detention of innocent citizens, censorship of the press, intimidation of individuals, and general violation of fundamental human rights. This ruthless oppression and repression is reminiscent of the past colonial days, which Kenyans thought were buried at independence. A gang of local tyrants has emerged whose only function is to terrorize and intimidate with senseless warnings. Rampant corruption, tribalism, nepotism has made life almost intolerable in our society. The economy of this country is in shambles due to corruption and mismanagement. The cost of living in Kenya today is among the highest in the world. Wananchi can no longer afford to meet the basic requirements of life due to exorbitant prices of the basic necessities such as food, housing rent, transport. Above that.
And this is in 1982. 1982, people could not afford rent or even food. And today we are complaining of the same thing. And even where rent is even higher, food is even more expensive, transport more expensive, fuel expensive, diapers expensive, sanitary towels expensive.
Kenyans are among the highest taxed people in the world today. Wananchi, under these circumstances, our armed forces have heeded the people's call to liberate our country once again from the forces of oppression and exploitation in order to restore liberty, dignity, and social justice to the people. In doing this, we have proved to the rest of the world that no individual or group of people can permanently subjugate or take away the freedom which our fathers and grandfathers so gallantly fought to bring to this country.
What was supposed to be the new government, the People's Redemption Council, chaired by Ochuka himself, promised free election, the release of political prisoners, a return to Kenya's founding democratic vision. Across Kenya, people listened in shock and confusion. Some celebrated quietly behind closed doors, others locked themselves inside, uncertain whether to hope or hide. Even at State House, communication lines were down. President Moi, at his Kabarak home in Nakuru, couldn't immediately confirm what was happening in his own capital. At the same time, 200 kilometers north in Nanyuki, Corporal Bramwell Injeni Njeraman, an armaments technician who had never flown, forced 3 pilots into their jets at gunpoint. He ordered them to bomb State House and the General Service Unit headquarters. The pilots were flying F-5Es and Strike Master aircrafts, and Injeni climbed in behind them. Knowing Njeraman had never flown a jet, the pilots secretly agreed on a plan. Using a secret channel, they decided to fly violent maneuvers that would subject him to crushing G-forces and leave him dizzy and disoriented. Once airborne, they threw their aircraft through sharp turns as Njeraman struggled to remain conscious in the back seat. Over the forests of Mount Kenya, the pilots released their bombs harmlessly into trees and returned to base. Believing the mission had succeeded, Njeraman later announced that Nairobi had been bombed. However, State House still stood, Moi still lived, and the window was closing. By 8 a.m., 5 hours into the coup, Ochuka had already declared victory without achieving it. University students poured into Nairobi's streets, celebrating what they thought was liberation. At the University of Nairobi, student leader Titus Adungosi rushed to the Voice of Kenya itself to stand beside Ochuka.
This is a statement on behalf of all the students of Kenya. On behalf of the students and the people of Kenya, we, the University of Nairobi students, register our wholehearted and unconditional support for the August 1st revolution organized by the Kenya People's Redemption Council. We humbly request our new popular government to accord us the freedom we have always cried for. Thank you.
But sympathizing with a critique is not the same as organizing a revolution. The plotters had no civilian organization, no local networks, no way to mobilize beyond the radio broadcast, which actually called for people to stay home. Revolutions require infrastructure, not just anger, and while Ochuka controlled the microphone, he had not taken the state. Meanwhile, shops along Moi Avenue and Kenyatta Avenue were being smashed open, their contents spilling into the streets.
He never built an organization, exactly. You can't take over the country, you got no backing of the people around the country. This is crazy.
Most of the soldiers assigned to arrest President Moi and his cabinet ministers were not at their posts. They were drinking, some looting. At Embakasi, the Kenya Army
drinking and loot. So, dude, your military is not even disciplined. You can't do a coup without undisciplined men. It's crazy. You drinking and we about to do a coup? Wow. Hey, don't tell me nothing about the men in Kenya drinking. I told you, you Africans, y'all drink crazy. We about to do a coup, but you drinking and looting. What? Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, you had no choice. You had no chance.
General Mahmoud Mohammed led the counter-operation. Loyalist troops and armored units rolled towards Nairobi with overwhelming force. When Loyalist forces launched their assault to retake the city, they didn't distinguish between armed rebels, student protesters, and bystanders. Fighting broke out everywhere. By late morning, Loyalist troops stormed the Voice of Kenya. The firefight was brief. Rebels were killed or captured. The rebellion had failed. Order had been restored. President Moi remained in power. By the time it ended, more than 100 soldiers were dead. Over 200 civilians had been killed. At 6 p.m., 15 hours after the first shots were fired, 9 hours after Ochuka declared himself chairman, President Moi's voice came through the radio.
See, they have drinking, they have beers.
Controlled. The attempted coup had failed. Order had been restored.
Exactly, Joe. So the other part of Kenya's military coming, everybody's all drunk. I'm just blowing them with this. What? This is embarrassing, guys. You got, if you're gonna do a coup like Ibram, you got to have disciplined men. Of
course.
You can't have ridiculous men. Yeah, you know what? I know we're about to do a coup, but let me go get fucked up first. Let me go get my liquor on. What? So you had no chance, dude. You should have just waited. You gotta have disciplined men. You can't have a bunch of morons and childlike men in the head. Because, like I said, it's gonna cost you life. I know they're gonna kill all you guys. You guys gotta go. You guys gotta get bubble gums. Because you came too close. Even though you were disorganized, but this moron in power, this Moi, he's scared to death. So he's gonna bubble. I don't know his history, but I know Moi bubble gums you motherfuckers. I know that. I know what that was Joey's gonna find out. Go ahead.
Okay. Leo asubuhi kwa muda mfupi ilioletea wananchi wasiwasi mwingi, sasa imeangamizwa na jeshi letu la nchi kavu na polisi, na nawashukuru wao sana kwa juhudi zao za kuangamiza hao maharamia ambao waliweka wananchi katika hali ya wasiwasi. Nataka niseme kwamba mambo kama haya ambayo yalitukia ni watu au wanajeshi la angani ambao walijichukulia madaraka ya kuharibu yale yote tunayotaka kufanya.
Ochuka fled, so did others. Some disappeared into Nairobi slums, some ran for the border. Ochuka himself made it to Tanzania, where he believed he would find sanctuary. The 6 hours when he ruled Kenya were over. The reckoning came swiftly. The crackdown began immediately. The entire Air Force was disbanded, an unprecedented act. Every serviceman was detained and interrogated. Over 1,000 people were arrested on the first day. Those arrested were subjected to brutal treatment and torture at Nyayo House.
Of course.
But Moi needed more than just soldiers to prosecute. He needed ideological sponsors, civilian figures who could be portrayed as the architects behind the rebellion. Oginga Odinga was placed under stricter house arrest. His son, Raila Odinga, became the state's prime target. During the courts-martial, Raila's name surfaced repeatedly. Witnesses, many testifying under duress, claimed he and his father blessed the plot, provided financial support, and even offered a house on Ngong Road as a command post. One account placed him near the Voice of Kenya as rebels seized the station. On August 11th, Raila was arrested while attempting to flee. He was charged with treason, a capital offense. Though the charges were eventually dropped for lack of evidence, the damage was done. He was detained without trial for 6 years. In the Flame of Freedom, Raila Odinga places himself within the wider underground movement opposing one-party rule in the early 1980s. He describes sustained political organizing, networking, and mobilizing at a time when dissent had been criminalized. In the aftermath of the failed coup, The Moi state treated participation in opposition politics as inseparable from rebellion. Raila's detention followed that logic. No proof of command, but proximity to resistance. Raila will be released in 1988, only to be detained twice more as the fight for multi-party democracy intensified. The trials of the military plotters began swiftly. Most were court-martialed after pleading guilty. Guilty pleas later revealed to have been coerced through threats of continued torture. 12 men were sentenced to death. Over 900 were imprisoned. Ochuka fled Tanzania but was extradited. On July 10, 1985, he was hanged at Kamiti Maximum Prison, along with Pancras Oteo Okumu. They were the last execution carried out under Kenyan law. The coup gave Moi everything he needed. He systematically purged the military and government of those he didn't trust. Air Force Commander Peter Kariuki was court-martialed. General Mahmoud Mohammed, who had crushed the coup, was promoted to Chief of Defense Forces. The Air Force itself was renamed to 82 Air Force and subjected to what was called militarization, grueling infantry drills, forced uniform changes, complete restructuring under army control. Moi used the coup's failure to complete what Section 2A had started, the transformation of Kenya into a total one-party authoritarian state. Constitutional amendments weakened the judiciary. Parliament became a rubber stamp. The special branch expanded its surveillance. Detention without trial became routine. For the next decade, Kenya lived under what was known as the Nyayo Terror, a time of intense state violence designed to ensure nothing like August 1st could ever happen again. But the system that produced the coup, elite capture, exclusion, inequality, remained untouched. The repression that crushed the coup could not suppress economic reality. The 1980s became Kenya's lost decade. As elites enriched themselves through corruption, ordinary Kenyans watched their living standards fall. Infrastructure decayed, public services collapsed.
Exactly. He never been, because remember, he's a moron. So he doesn't know how to run a country. He's just trying to stay in power. So Kenya went from, probably could have been almost a first world country when the British left. It went complete into decay because this moron doesn't know how to keep building infrastructure, and he was an idiot. He just wanted to maintain power, so they keep stealing. So this is just a theft of a few black people at the top, and everybody struggling.
Exactly. But yes, that has been our conversation and the history that we have not been taught in school and understanding coups.
They're not going to teach you that. Teach you that.
Our books. It's not anywhere in our books. So that should be an understanding of actually also. And if you follow copy and paste, probably it's the same reason why we have coups, many attempted coups, but they're never successful because, again, well explained, if you don't have strong men and disciplined men and non-drunkards, you're not going to have the same thing. And also you being the one who's, pushing for the coup, if you're the military commander or the leader, literally, you should understand how the system works. And under Moi, you knew that was a strict dictator. You should have gone with full force, not other people going to
exactly.
and all that. It's really, really good. Moi was brutal. That is one of the brutal presidents we know that served Kenya. He was really brutal. What we can see, because most of the people are questioning today's government of Kenya, comparing it to Moi. Really. When you look at Ruto, we see Moi. Based on the history we know. We talk about dictatorship, the killings, the abduction, the change in reshuffling of cabinet secretaries, internal security. This is so Moi, literally. So, and all of them, it's the same thing. There's no difference. From Jomo Kenyatta, you've seen, it was the same, killing, torture, abduction, arrest, and all that. So,
murder, because they're trying to, because Africa these people don't hold power from the people. They hold power of a corrupt system. So when your power, that's why even Touare got to do that, because his actual power comes from the people that he governs. African leaders, power doesn't come from its people. The people hate them. So it comes from the corrupt system that the white man created, keep them in power. And so they must do all these things, Joe, all these terrorism things and unaliving people up to have fear to their public so they would leave them alone to stay in power and keep looting the country. Because Africa, whole thing about African leaders, they're to loot the country. Africa's wealthy, so everything is about looting. It's about loot. And when you hear all this corrupt, every video you got, whether it be Kenya, Zimbabwe, Ghana, Nigeria, it's always about looting, stealing the resources and the money, giving the white man the majority of the money. And these, like Joe said, the African puppets get their little crumbs off the table. I get to be rich too. But all the other Africans sit in poverty. That's the scam.
It's crazy. But that has been my time today, family. Thank you so much for those who have been with me this morning. Just to check a few comments.
Great video.
To Jiba Jaba, Drum Mosquito for joining me this morning, and you, Keith. Jiba Jaba also was saying Chinese are the leaders in lithium exploitation. In all, they're in most of the African countries with their companies extracting resources, and there you can see it's crazy. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Jiba says they lead in cobalt mine exploitation in the Congo. Yes, they're everywhere. Just say they're everywhere. Don't even put any space. They're everywhere. But also say success should be made with benchmarks of progress. That's that if not met, you forfeit and fired. And also says bunch of balloon stomachs. I tell you, it's just super crazy. These people just grow their stomachs, signing deals as millions of the people suffer and they're fleeing their homes. And Drum Mosquito says, I see Congo, I see the Congo flag. What's the latest over there? We're talking about Israel signing a deal with DRC Congo, and we know what that is all about. It's crazy. John Mosquito says violence begets more violence. Begets more violence, as they say. And says, I pity Cupcake. I know it's crazy. Joby, his mouth is full of white dicks. He can't say such. I know, Jibajaba, I know. And as Jarvis says, Burkina Faso have redesigned their soldier uniform to look more traditional. It looks awesome. Yeah, I just started with that. You can check the beginning of our show. We've done a 2-hour, 30-minute show today. Congratulations to me. Yeah, I'm that girl. Don't play with me. And then we also have Keith, who was saying earlier, became president at 34. It's not hard, Joby. They tell you're that nonsense so you can be put in the European system. Exactly. Yeah, because I don't believe anyone at plus 35 or whatever age, if you have the right information, knowledge on how to manage, you can become a leader. There's nothing like a criteria to it. I don't think there is, literally. And says, and remember the white people keep coming to him, telling him he can't run his country without war. Exactly. It's crazy. And that's why they are trying to kill him. Yup. Because they're showing other Africans what they should be doing. But yes, that has been my time this morning, family. We'll be coming back in a few with the reaction time. Join me. I'll be the captain today. And of course, later on, we have the Africa Today show. But yes, in case you catch this on a replay, hope you enjoy. Leave a comment under those conversations you've had. What are your thoughts? Subscribe. Support us on our Cash App, tafadhali. We have an active Cash App streaming down below. You can send anything. We'll appreciate to keep us going and to keep our lights also on. But yes, see you guys in a few. We'll be coming back with the reaction time. Peace and